Well, hello and welcome to Daphne V TV. I have a smile on my face today, which is really kind of contradictory to the topic of today's show. I'm talking about what to do during grief. And I want to share a little story with you to start. I have a very special friend who I've known for several years. Most of our relationship has been via phone or technology messaging. I think we've actually only met in person one time. But that just goes to show you don't have to be in someone's physical presence in order to create a bond. So this friend of mine recently lost her husband of, I believe, over 40 years. He had cancer and he fought a good fight. They took some experimental measures and that prolonged his life. And they made the most of every day they could. She is grieving the loss of her life partner, as is normal, as is healthy, as is the appropriate thing to do. However, this particular friend of mine is also experiencing what I want to talk to you about today. And that is having gratitude in grief. Think about that for a minute. Not having gratitude because of grief. And I got to tell you, in my favorite book, there is in Matthew 5:4, it says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." Well, I got news, y'all. I just as soon be comforted in some other way to not mourn, right? I mean, like who looks forward to mourning? And it's something that we all have in common. Either you have grieved recently, you are grieving right now, or you will be grieving in the future. Loss is part of life. However, when we are in that grief season, the way we get through it depends on several things. So again, I want to welcome you to Daphne V TV. And I would love to hear from you. I really, really care. In the comments, that's where I get to engage with you. Let me know if you are in a season of grief, have finished a season of grief, or are preparing for a season of grief. I have people in my life who have family members in every single stage. They are just being admitted to hospice. They are in hospice and have been for a while, or they have finally been promoted out of hospice and into heaven. So let me know what season you are in. And what I want to talk to you about today is the way to have gratitude even when you're grieving. Now, this friend of mine that I mentioned earlier on, trust me, she is not dancing around with joy. What she is doing is clinging to hope. Because of her hope, she is able to live in a place of gratitude. Now, again, if you've ever experienced a loss, and maybe it's not the loss of a loved one from this life to eternal life, maybe it's the loss of a relationship, as I've recently experienced. Maybe it's the loss of a job or a status or even a season. You know, we're in the middle of summer right now, which means school is going to start in the fall. And for some moms and dads, their nest is going to be empty. That final kiddo, or maybe the only kiddo, is going to move away and go to college. And there's going to be some grief in that. But while we're in a season of grief, we can also hang on to and seek out gratitude. You may be asking, how the heck can I do that? I'm too busy being sad. Well, first of all, it starts with the decision. It starts with the decision to honor what you're going through, to not deny it, to not dismiss it, to not ignore it, to say, look, I'm in a season of grief. I am mourning a loss. And as soon as you acknowledge it, you then can shift your energy. You can shift it, even if it's just 1 degree from being in the depths of despair to a step of hope. I was hoping some kind of analogy would come to me just now, but it didn't. But you don't have to stay in the pit. You can look up and look forward. And I'm not trying to pacify you with platitudes today. I know the gut-wrenching feelings that grief induces. I promise you. And I also know what it's like to go through that season with gratitude or to go through that season without gratitude. When we can look at our grief and say, okay, what about this season can I find to be grateful about? It helps, even if it's just a little bit, to get you through to the next day. Let me give you an example. My friend who just recently lost her husband. How can she experience gratitude? Her entire world has changed. Well, she's got friends who are praying for her, and she has friends who are extending a helping hand. That's something to be grateful for. She doesn't have to go through this alone. There are groups who specialize in processing grief of this kind. She can be grateful for that. She had an extra 4 years with her husband. She can be grateful for that. She has family, children, and grandchildren to go through this with her. She can be grateful for that. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? I'd love to see something in the comments like, this resonates with me. I understand. I get you. Whatever you want to put in there. Put grateful, put gratitude, put something in there so I know that you're getting it. Because see, the whole thing is, to be honest, and I'm not trying to be Daphne Downer, just being real. Life, as I said, is loss. If you are living full on, if you are living out loud, if you are taking risks, then you are going to also experience loss. You're going to experience grief. And the way you handle it is what's going to determine the quality of the rest of your life. That's kind of heavy. I get it. Well, so is grief, right? Okay. But the way you handle grief is going to determine the way you go through the process. It's going to set you up for the next time you experience it. So what I want you to understand today is that while you're in your grief, first of all, treat yourself with grace. Oh, sister friend, as much grace as you would give somebody else, I want you to give yourself 10 times that, okay? Maybe you've got a friend who is in grief right now or has been in grief in the past, and you think about how you treated them, how you loved on them, how you encouraged them, right? The way you treated them is the way you want to treat yourself. This month, my social media topic is about self-care. And I've got a friend who she sees it more as soul care, because when you take care of your soul, you are taking care of yourself. So whether you call it soul care or self-care, giving yourself grace will help get you through. Let's see, we've got some comments here. Yeah, you guys get it. You guys, gals, I should say, you understand that the way we handle it, and I'm not saying handle it perfect. Come on, y'all. I don't know about you, but I know I am nowhere near perfect. So I'm going to mess it up from time to time. I'm going to have those days where, okay, I'm going to tell you, I went face first in the halo. Yeah. That's that ice cream that has a whole lot of protein in it. So if you eat the whole thing, you don't feel quite as bad. But I did. And I just said, you know what? Today I'm having a pity party. And I gave myself grace for it. I didn't beat myself up over it. And that's what I want you to do for yourself. When you are in grief, I want you to find something, anything to be grateful for. Maybe it's the fact that there's sunshine and you can go sit outside in the sunshine for a little bit. Maybe it's the hope that you're going to be reunited, or the understanding that this temporary loss is going to lead to something better at the next step. And I'm not necessarily talking about spouses right now, right? Or partners or relationships, but like if you lost a job or you lost a home or you had a big financial setback, right? Finding gratitude, giving yourself grace. Those are based in a belief of hope. And when you stay anchored in that, you, my friend, are going to be able to weather any storm that comes your way. So before we leave, I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. First of all, if you would like to receive a free resource from me, send an email to this address right here, daphne@daphneVsmith.com. Because with grief comes some anxiety. And I have a resource I'd be happy to mail to you absolutely free, but I need to know you want it. So just send an email to me and put gratitude in the subject line. And you don't need to put anything else if you don't want to. And I will respond with that free resource for you. The second thing is this. I want you to be sure that as you go through grief, that you find someone or something to be anchored to. Because if you don't, it's going to be 10 times harder on you. It's going to be, sorry, y'all. It's live. This is live. All right. Oh, gosh. Okay. I got an iPhone, obviously, and it hooks up to my computer. I'll deal with that better next time. When you are in that gratitude, keep yourself anchored in grief. Not in grief. Oh my gosh. When you're in grief, keep yourself anchored in attitude. Keep yourself anchored in grace. That's going to give you the hope to get through. And when you do, you're going to be able to live a well-done life in spite of loss. You're going to be able to break the chains that would love to keep you stuck and mired and keep you in a state of despair and hopelessness. You're going to be able to break those chains, and you're going to be able to make some waves. And that's going to be because you recognize that you are a human and you have feelings and you matter. So until next time, I want you to give yourself permission to recognize, to experience, to feel everything that you need to in order to heal. Remember, you gotta feel it to heal it. And when you do, you are going to be able to get through grief while also experiencing gratitude. And you have permission to recognize your value because you matter and so do your feelings. Bye for now.